meeting into order. Let me first thank you and welcome all of you. We'll start off with a word of prayer. I'll call upon my colleague, member, Honorable George, to lead us with a word of prayer.
Okay, let's pray. God, our Heavenly Father, we thank you that you are bringing us together this morning. As we look at a very important bill in front of us, we ask your guidance and wisdom to be upon us as we look through and we discuss and deliberate on this matter. All these things we ask in Jesus' name.
Amen. Thank you, colleague George Tema. Let me again, on behalf of the Bills and Legislation Committee, ladies and gentlemen, welcome you all to this hearing. Thank you for your positive response to our invitation to appear before the committee this morning in person. It is an important bill for you and for us and the country, the Mineral Resources Bill 2025, and the space we have to share our experiences, our opinions and views on this bill is critically important, and on that we look forward for your presentation to the committee of your insight on the bill. Let me first assure you that you are, as witnesses appearing before my committee, you have accorded the parliamentary privileges, which is whatever you say to us in this session will not be held against you in any court of law in this country. So please, capitalize on that powerful privilege, speak to us plainly, and tell us what you want to tell us. We want this bill to be recommended to the House with very, very important amendments if need be. If not, then we want to start operating under the bill so that it helps everyone, particularly yourself as the companies out there to prosper this country in the mining sector. So you have that privilege accorded to you. We will allow you to introduce yourself after I hand you the mic. Introduce yourself into the mic for our handset purposes. I'm pleased to also introduce my committee members present. On my right, I have the Honorable Member of Parliament for Auke Landlana and the Official Leader of the Opposition, Honorable Matiwale. Further right, I have Honorable Frida Tuki from the Watu constituency, member of the Bills and Legislation Committee, and on my left, Honorable George Temahua, member of Parliament for West New Jersey constituency. We are pleased to welcome you. The rest of our committee members will shortly join us. We'll start with the introduction and then we'll go back to the presentation. So we'll start on my right. Please introduce yourselves. I will move on to the left, and then I'll ask you to start your presentation. Introduce yourself, who you are representing before the committee, and then we'll move on. Thank you very much. Sir, you have the mic.
Thank you. My name is Harrison. Again, Dikile is my surname. I'm with Florida Mine Investment Company Limited, currently doing bauxite mining in Reno. Yeah. So I do represent that company. And of course, I'm a Solomon Islander as well, so of course I do have sentiments for our landowners and all that too. So I won't just speak only for the company, but my opinions on this one as a landowner I will also share with you as well. Thank you.
You're doing prospecting or mining?
Mining, yeah.
Thank you. Next, please.
Thank you. My name is David Deva. I'm representing Pacific Nickel Mine, Kolosori, mining in Isabel. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Bakle Liliti. I'm the manager for Kolosori Nickel Mine, and I'm presenting Pacific Nickel Mines Kolosori Limited. Thank you.
Okay, my name is Thomas Toba, and I'm representing Solomon Nickel Mining. We are currently working in Choiseul at the moment. We're doing mining.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Good morning, honorables. My name is Ramon Santos. I am from the Philippines. As you know, we are the second largest producer of nickel. And I'm here to assist as CEO of Solomon Island Nickel Mining Company.
Same one?
Yeah, same. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Nemblomi Walton Eisen, Parliament Chief, and Director of Goldrich Mining Limited. Tupala Chief behind representing Goldrich Community Investment Limited, our local partner.
Nemblo Tuvalu.
Oh, Nemblo Tuvala, the beautiful guy at the site here, Thomas Edson Mackenzie, and Shimri Launi, Tuvala Director of local company.
Thank you, Chief Tavia. Now we'll go into our presentation. So as I said earlier, we'll start with the presenter on my right. Please.
Yeah, I've looked through the bill yesterday and the other day. There's so many things. We scribble all about, so we look at them where we by me start law division 2, law page 16 na by me comment law and first time first as me like regime stuck out several errors we need for correcting. Section 17, effect of declaring mining protected area. Be exploration or him should be allowed because we need him scientific data no say about collecting during exploration. The mining now you may are very strict him, but for exploration law, for exploration him should be allowed no more. So now law 17 law 1 and we talk about. Then law section 17.3, law them talk about direct American applicant provides further information for along determination of application, including survey or proposed tenement and OSMA. This one them no applicable yet law here, and this cannot be done yet unless him got permit before survey doing mokataya. So what things OSMA now need for or to correct him law this one here. A and B law there law 3 and we talk about the law section 73 A and B. Then law page 25 criteria for looking at a clean police record law 1, 2 then say financially stable. Him need for define him now. What now what I mean by what say financially stable? Then also law number 4 law days has a requisite ethical characteristics. So what not those characteristics? Him need for spell him clearly now or what I became him clear here. Then law D him say me read him go down a little bit or same whether applicants develop access agreement or go last second line law there community development payments without entering a community development agreement or same that for you me give him exception law companies more you me put him go without or same make him compulsory no they have to have a CDA community development agreement Osem stated clearly, Osem, because otherwise you give him leeway for companies for less for doing na community development agreement. Then we go to page 35. Page 35, I'm talk about what the payment of fees and what the compliance, A, B, C, D, lo there now. After also practicality, blow this one there now, we like question him, how na buy waka? Time company him sees, then him go, then you try for recover him what the costs here. Because is this practical? How will it work? Ako tayo na yung minute voting ground ni Mosem. Time him go finish. How na ba yung chase map ma? So ako tayo na, Mosem, you really need for think through na for how na for you really capture him kind situation so same. Na comment below that one. Now we go to page 36. No, section 49. Osem government not to have financial involvement. Osem lo there no. Osem me not really understand him good, but me think say him should get him option yeah. Osem should take him up equity law the companies yeah. Maybe under SOE arrangement osem, but him should be allowed. But PNG do it. Ota save take him up to me no remember exactly how many percent also take him up, but 15% or something law of the companies yeah. But if we don't have that opportunity or same. You mean no allow na lawyer for government involved kind of same. Then on number 3, you say government may set up statutory established a credit scheme to promote investment in mining and we mean need for doing hurry up. We need to set it up as soon as possible. As well as for suppose that one is a law de name is a buy equity lot company share law de name is a doing that one. Law this fala 3 and me look him this one. Beslo PNG now to do him, even set him up company blota, Petromin, this time Octedi, what national company, Pogeratu, what a little bit. Tolkuba mine was also national blocata seleva too, then Misimato, the Bimo for what to go in as a national company, enough for take over what a good example, so do him next door no matter. Amy should do him too low here for helping me develop a country blue. Okay, now by me go comments below page 45, section 69, C, where him say review mining agreement approved. Then him also agreement, the community development agreement, if any. Or say, no, for what we put him if any, you make him compulsory go now. Must get him CDA now, community development agreement. So remove him if any. Just to make sure companies have CDA with the community law, the communities blame. Then law section 82B, 1B. The mineral tenement is exempted from requirement of having rehabilitation program. Kaya no say, give me exempt for what more? Rehabilitation compulsory, eh? Okay, by me go to page 52, section 84. So, section 84 2B. Law there, what does it provide for the owner of land that is or will be subject to a mineral tenement holding an ownership equity interest. Meeting him better for spell him out here. How much equity you may looking at? And then what questions we need for ask him now, is it free? Or do we have to buy those equities? Kaya no say. as resources about the interest for Garem, about the happy for Garem share. So say me with him talk about lawyers. So say this one I mean talk on behalf of company one. Me sell one. Me talk story in this one. Me say do with them equity or say me. So some idea no more say 5% free carrying equity on behalf of water land on us. Now when we go to page 53, section 85, or the Sanfala restrictions law there 85, then 2B law there, like comment, exploration mining must not be carried out on land comprised of or situated within 100 meters. Again, me promoting exploration, the exploration should allow the same. Scientific information, you need to know what's in your place below there. 100 meter big too much there. Also, I'm not thinking mining, of course, you must have a stop him or you must have a negotiate with those owners. How much suppose the same very high grade gold load there in 50 meters before house blue you? Or suppose land houseman owner I'm like for me agree for relocate and allow company for coming. Those things now you need for think about him, but important something we have to have the data. So exploration, we should not stop him. That one, we need him. Even if you buy me not do many work along there, but we still need those informations. Comment below me, law, section 86, page 54, approved mining agreement. This one and between national government and company, no more this one. How you leave him out of the provincial government, they are the ones who are closer to our people where by host team now this fella mining activity. But you mean no including Mokotana? Or do we have to need for including Motakam? Or the things so like racing for me. We can think about it. Otherwise, so say Mokota just stay low the handicap number 2, there's nothing much for them. Maybe I'm good if you must have including Mokota 2 lota agreements with them. National government, province, and say company or kind of same lota agreements. Ogota na by facing whatever consequences, disasters that happen in the province, they'll be with their people, closer to their people over. And comment below me law. That one, me looking below paper to what a treaty say not only law. Section 87, we look at that too, and page 55. Or the treaty motor mining projects, some fellas say significant mining projects. Then some fellas no more. What suppose like make a motion, what need for defining what not the minimum, which one categories of consider as significant mining projects. Everyone should treat it equally no more. As long as you come up mining projects, they are all significant. You need for treating same no more. So I'm not thinking rather than other things like additional miners and what I am different. What I am very small activities now. But every other mining proper, others should consider the significant mining activities no more. Law section 88, page 56. E, like section 88E, page 56, specify obligations of the holder of the mineral tenement to wholly or partially pay for community development program, and in doing so to make community development payments as required. I'm good or the putting goal there. Suggestion blow me no more. Other companies might not like him. Look at the CDA, community development agreements, and financing component blame and problem. You need for local in this one. Say, how do we finance community development programs for you? Suppose you put him go, say, okay, 1% of your sales it will go to CDA to cover all the development projects law area by wakalo him. Then by him clear, companies will just come and follow because it's a law now, so you put him go. Me fella like him 1% of sales, him now for cover him community development agreement for you. Also, otherwise, buy my company no more for how much I'm like put him go no more. But me no looking many impact to him too. Some small too much. This one me looking him fair. Also, some percentage. So you big company, but you pay a little bit more. o sem sales blue you mean so sem percentage so small company bam smaller too so fit too follow but now what able for producing man save help load so you won't expect a CDA blow a big gold ridge or then mi follow Renault small company so buy no same but him fair because it's him you put in percent below him you know amount. Okay, law section 91, page 58. Page 58, lo top lo page here. Lots of confusions lo here, lo terminology na milukim. Mineral tenement o sem lo here, ota lampu map na staka different activities here. Reconnaissance, prospecting, mining, feasibility, everyone ota kolemo ota covered no malod sa same thing. So, kamlo ota disalot na pages here, hem no appropriate na for you put him, you need to be specific. O sa mineral tenement on top yan, minimum page 58 here, second line here. Hem should mining tenement o sa. Then, section 92 here, application to consolidate mineral tenements o semlo de. Hem no straight here, it should be application to consolidate prospecting tenements into one mining tenement. O sem what try for combining na different prospecting tenements for it become one fala mining tenement. O sem na section 19 come down. But o the issue mo terminology siya na hem no straight. O sem section 92, then 3, hem say again hem say mineral the mineral tenements hem say lo deto hem should it should be the prospecting tenements. Then section 93, grant of mineral tenement. Hem should know sem too. Hem should be grant of mining tenement for consolidated prospecting tenements. Should also na by him straight. Or the term say hem no straight there. So lots of other mistakes. So say now need for correcting. Again, the paragraph here 93.1 or say me or the mineral tenement or say me changing go mining. Now on top here, then after consult all and some of the mineral tenements lo them should prospecting tenements. So what are a big errors inside. And then continue go 93 section 93 A hem lo there too. Grant one mineral tenement lo there it should be grant one mining tenement. That consolidates all or some of the mineral tenement, not the issue, it should be prospecting tenement. Also, what I know, me like regime no about them need for rewritten properly now what I. So full page here, lots of mistakes also now need for correction. And continue lower, page 62. Section 96A can also say if the conditions of the mineral tenement to say it should be conditions of the prospecting tenements. Then A and B need for a little bit clarifying good too. Lo A would say if the conditions of the mineral tenement emission should prospecting tenements, it consolidates as substantially the same. What I also mean too. What now? What I mean? What are those things that they refer to as substantially the same? And what the difference will be here? Then lo section 97 2. Okay, 2 need for. The grant of the consolidated tenement does not affect the liability of the holder of the mineral tenement changeable or prospecting tenements. Then lohem said to pay fee royalties should not include na law there. This one law prospecting stage there, so no any royalty yet. Lo area. Then what I'm understanding lo de is time prospecting surface access agreement na hem take into effect yet lo de. Once I'm change into mining tenement by surface access right agreement na by him take over na from there.
So can I just take you back to clause 91?
Clause 91, okay.
Yeah. So the whole argument, Blue, seem to missing one important
91.
in this fella sort of a definition law, the phrase mineral tenement, him say it does not include. So him not including reconnaissance permit, him not including prospecting license, and him not including now artisanal mining permit. So the force of your argument is all of this relates to prospecting, but the term, okay, excluding prospecting. So really they are talking about mining tenements here. So there may be, so you may have a situation where two company hold them two different tenements, and then there's a merger or an acquisition. One company take over another company, or take over no more mining assets for them, the most important of which is the tenement. So then by combining, it's providing a process for that. And if what conditions issue law mining license here have substantially the same for A and B tenement, well then no need for repeating law both, because once them combined, same conditions. No, that's what this is about. But because you miss him does not include here, so the force of your argument, as if all of this should go back to the prospecting phase. But I'm passing finish. This is dealing with mining tenements already, well, lease him already issued.
Lease mining tenements already, yeah? They just meeting or him prospecting tenements yet. They don't just apply for a number of prospecting tenements. Oh, okay. Section 91, yeah? We can re-look at this one later.
Like ask law side, law bauxite, law Renault. We've had so many problems, law Renault. So I hope your company does not repeat those problems. But you are not doing?
Me fala no doing so far. Me fala doing two fala shipments already.
How many?
Two fala na me fala doing finish.
How much tons na you fala?
50,525 na wet metric tons, yeah, for first shipment. Then second shipment, 60,000. 525 wet metric tons.
And how much now price below per?
Price me fala currently we are selling at 34 USD per ton. Na your current selling price lo bauxite me fala.
And you will sell below where?
Ota go to China, no, exported to China.
Do we have enough? I don't, pardon my ignorance, because I have a lot about these things. But do we have enough bauxite in the country? Renault, obviously, probably the biggest one.
Yeah, Renault got a big fala bauxite resource, but mi fala company not tenement blow mi fala no big too much mi fala take no more leftover blow wall link or the tenements blow block A and B no more, so area blow mi fala small because outside blow area blow mi fala nation na take everyone, so na some fala
who take
Nesi company NESI. Yeah. What I'm not doing prospecting around what some fala issues with them okata too, but him no mi fala no able for.
Or got a prospecting license this time?
Yeah.
Because one of the issues that was raised specifically with regards to nickel is problem in the national interest. Of course, we want more for the resource, and more for the resource means some processing to happen here in country. But processing cannot happen unless there's economies of scale, there's sufficient resource.
Yeah, yeah.
So what we're trying to get a handle on is whether we have sufficient resource, look at the various minerals here to justify processing to make it economically viable. But of course, if I asked all of you, because you're all holding very small tenements, it'll be a little bit harder for you to answer that. It really matter for ministry. Split him every tenement or every company, so I'm hard for you.
Yeah, big issue too. Yeah, we look at sustainability of mining industry for our country. Yeah, can you me one goal of every resources blue me allow a company come in. Then one time everything resources blue me finish. You me by registrate na. If na government suppose lulu good lo him, then no got allow just 1 or 2 companies for making me run in a long period of time, for sustaining me a long period of time. But no direction you me go lo heme, you me resist for pieces na kekelo every company. So I'm not by problem blue you me.
So tenement blue valo, West Renole.
Yeah, West Renole. Yeah.
By how many years now, valo?
Me fala by suppose flow good by problem too. By next year we should have some new tenements or kind of some before me fall able for continuous stuff. Maybe by next year or some by me fall a problem too. Resource by
finish.
Yeah, by finish. Yeah.
Thank you. So you have other clauses that you have not covered. We went back to clause 91. You have other comments on other clauses in the bill after clause 91?
We look through that. Other main ones now, what same issues no more be MRPA kind of issue the term mineral tenement because other areas by him no applicable for use now would him need to be specific. It means suppose mining now you talk about you ought should replace him go mining tenement or something because you put a mineral tenement and general tenement cover him stuck different activities. Kind of say minimum stuck up a lot of stuck PG so by me stop lawyer first time then allow more another colleagues play me lot other mining companies for sharing views blocker. Thank you, Thomas.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. So by you look more law this presentation below you or got points below you. You straighten then him come so that we have them on record and we can use them in our report. We'll come back to you with questions. We'll move on with the presentation next, please.
Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity for talk. We look through this bill. One fella, me share not really share a lot lo him. Me look at him right. One fella, part one me like for little bit touch lo him na lo site lo export. Export lo side lo concern in permits and things the same. Yeah. One of the key important thing here is, especially for DSO, direct shipment ore, there's a body where him also governing na that fala shipment of this ore, and this one na him seems saya because most of our ores you export him according to the IMSBC code. There's a code that him govern him na how for him export him na these DSOs or await him now liquefaction where him been happen finish law stuck especially with the DSOs around the world. A couple of ships that have been sink and life him lost. So for a mining company where him engaged inside law DSO, it's a requirement that SIMSA is a body where he look after the shipping and things like that, and they are part of the International Maritime Organization or that too, look after them. So we have to have a management plan in place, a moisture management plan, because most of the DSO are DSO, direct shipment export oil. We have to have that management plan in place, and the authority where him by also helping me with that is SIMSA. Ogatana the authority where Ogata should deal with them that one. So inside law, or same law here, law export permit or whatever you may look him law here, like him not really touch him go like we should go deeper too, or should include him something inside law act too, that every company doing this so have to be in compliance they have to be in compliance of international maritime whatever law side law DSO. Just recently, I think yesterday, Mifala also applied for this, for being recognized by our maritime organization law here to do this DSO shipping. So that's one thing we are also looking inside law bill, like he should mention him good too, that one, and should be stated inside law bill, like process or the right ways where you should do him now the export to DSO.
So at the moment, you will apply GOEA or the exercising power under what kind of law?
Ota group law Simaya. Ota exercising power under I think International Maritime Organization IMO.
Under Law SIMA Act or?
And then him by start inside Law SIMA Act too, I think.
So you'll have to repeat him same lawyer here more? I mean, if it's clear already working and it's within a law, existing law, my question is, do you want exactly that more here? Is that the case you're making, or?
Not really. But how me look him go is yesterday after a meeting, Ogata even asking Mifala for if Mifala say offer him training too for Ogata law there with regards to this type of things like the DSO. So me no sure whether him start law under law block that one or that one na me no sure.
Yeah, good. But we will invite him to come to make him come explain him more of law.
Yes.
Go ahead. Yeah.
I think that one now a point where me like raise him, especially for me for the people where me for la ship him out DSO.
Me for everyone.
Yeah, him na me for everyone no box site and Nicolana me for la
DSO
inside lo de anaya DSO.
The Gold Ridge.
What a group lo Gold Ridge now kata. Yeah.
Okay, you finish?
Yes.
Okay.
I think that one no point me like raise him.
Very good. Thank you, Pacific Nicole. We'll come to Solomon.
Can I use the overhead, your honor, if it's possible, if I could use the projector?
IT, can he use the... Oh, very good. Go ahead. You will need to submit that
Yes, I will.
electronically also, so we have...
Yes. Thank you.
Then you will pay him royalty, no?
Yeah, me fala pay royalty. First shipment. Second one, me fala in the process of making that one must. Yeah.
Must pay.
Me fala less for repeating now that one. Did it shipment?
Make him over the one top here.
Good morning, everybody, especially to the Honorable Chairman and members of the Bills and Legislation Committee, and to my fellow miners beside me. Please, I beg your indulgence. I'll give 3 slides just to introduce ourselves, and then I will focus on not on the detail of the mining bill, which I found really very good, but I will focus more on the most serious and most important topics that I think should be considered seriously. Okay, first of all, this is we are representing Solomon Nickel Mining Company. Solomon Nickel Mining Company is a subsidiary of Solomon Islands Mining Company, and we are now operating in Siruca, in East Lauro, Choiseul Island. SIMCL is the holder of the prospecting license, and then after doing the exploration, it was passed on to Solomon Nickel Mining Company to apply for mining lease, which was granted in December 1, 2023. This is the location of the tenement where we are now operating. We have just completed 5 shipments, and we are now loading the 6th vessel, which started only in January this year. So we have not met our target yet. We are still in the trial mining stage. Just a brief introduction myself. I'm from the Philippines. I'm currently the CEO of Solomon Islands, and I'm also chairman of the regulatory board for mining engineering in the Philippines, because mining engineering is regulated in the Philippines. It has to be licensed. My background is as mining engineer geology, and I have 45 years of experience because I'm very old already. Although I'm not a Solomon Islander, I think I can share with you my personal conviction that is equally applicable to Solomon Islands. As a start, this is my personal conviction, my favorite quote. We did not inherit the earth from our forefathers or ancestors, but we borrow it from our children. That's my point of view in dealing with mining. Personally, that's why I can choose the projects I like as long as I can meet my personal conviction. Okay, now going to the subject matter, I'd like to focus on part 11, financial matter, which is section 114 for financial assistance. I quote verbatim, the holder of the mineral tenement must provide the government with financial assistance, highlight and given, to assure conduct of the holder's obligation under the approved rehabilitation program for the mineral tenement, and to protect the government from paying the cost of complying with those obligations. The requirement for the financial assurance extends beyond the cessation of activities, that means after the operating life, under the mineral tenement until the minister is satisfied that the assurance is no longer required, meaning until the rehabilitation is acceptable to the government, such that there is no reasonable likelihood that the government will need to draw from the assurance. And number 4, the minister, acting on the advice of the minister responsible for finance, must determine the form in which financial assurance will be given, and fix the amount of the financial assurance having regard to the many considerations. Now, our request for clarification first is, what would be the financial assurance? Would it be a cash deposit deposited in a financial institution or a bank? Or it would be in the form of a bond, like an environmental guarantee bond? And how will it be determined? Because it says it needs to be determined or fixed. Our understanding first is that the financial assurance is intended for the mine rehabilitation after the productive life of the mine, at the term cessation of activities. And it should not be touched during the life of the mine, so that the government has something to draw from if needed. So that means once it is deposited, throughout the life of the mine, it will not be untouched. And it is a fixed amount to be determined by the minister that should cover the whole rehabilitation program, because it is a guarantee that all the obligations will be met.
How does it work in the Philippines?
Okay, I will show you now. Yes.
Okay, our comment is if it would be a cash deposit, which we do in the Philippines, covering the whole rehabilitation program, if we deposit the whole amount at the start of the mining project and it cannot be utilized, it would be a heavy financial strain for the project because it's a front end. So all the front end have heavy burden on the viability. And also, if it cannot be touched only by the government, if the obligation is not met, it would be a double budgeting. That means we deposit some amount and then we spend for the rehabilitation. If the rehabilitation will not be successful, then the government will get this deposit. That is my understanding. It is not accurate if that is your original intention.
Hold on, it's not clear to me. So in the Philippines, is a cash deposit upfront?
Yes, but not upfront law. Okay, this one. Okay, let me be, indulge with me, please. I beg your indulgence. Okay, if this is the mining cycle, that is exploration, that is construction, that is mine development and trial mining, and that is the commercial mining operation, and that is the final closure and rehabilitation. Now, since we are talking about mining operation, let's focus on mining operation only. In the Philippines, we have an annual, we have a environmental protection and progressive restoration. This is the term I apply here, but we use a different term in the Philippines. We call it Environmental Protection and Enhancement Program. This is intended to cover the whole life of the mine until the end of the operation, as illustrated. And this is broken down every year into an annual budget. So it would be an annual environmental protection and restoration, progressive restoration budget. And every year, 5 years, it is being reviewed because of cost escalation, changes in the environment, and actual accomplishment restoration. But I'm just presenting it as a background.
So what you're saying is that at each stage of the life cycle,
yes,
there will be
there is
an increment that's placed into the deposit.
Yes. From the very start, even from the exploration, we have at a certain percentage of our exploration budget, 5% of the exploration is spent on environmental. So even in exploration, we have environmental budget. Yeah. So that we don't leave the test pits open, something like that.
Yeah. That's the problem, Reynolds. But I mean, all of you, Reynolds, Isabel, and Choiseul, you really weren't doing any prospecting. You are beneficiaries of prospecting that has gone beforehand. So in all of your cases, that phase has already been done. You're going pretty much straight into mining operations.
That is our first project, the mining operation, but we still have prospecting. That's why I will come back this afternoon for the prospecting.
But in any case, let just me seek some clarification. So because you are the beneficiary of prior prospecting done by other companies before, so you've already got the data, you fairly efficiently get straight into mining operations, and it's just getting ore, putting it in the ship and going. In that situation, the government would be, if it was taking an incremental approach, the government would be on the back foot.
Actually, the area was explored by somebody else, Sumitomo, but they have a different perspective. Sumitomo intends to put up an HPAL because they have Isabel and Choiseul. If they have Choiseul only, that's not viable for HPAL. But if they have Isabel only or Choiseul, but if they combine the two, it would be viable for HPAL. That's why their plan is different from us. Their cutoff grade is very low, so the resource is very big because it is the low grade that they will feed the HPAL. In our case, we have to do technical due diligence. We have to do a lot of drilling because our intention is DSO. Our cutoff grade is high. If Sumitomo was able to determine a resource of 92 million metric tons, but the grade is 0.7% nickel. In our case, we evaluated the same deposit. Our calculation is only around 14 million metric tons at 1% nickel. So it's really, we have to really do it again. Although we cannot completely ignore the value of the exploration data that we got from Sumitomo. So we did still our feasibility study.
So what's the basis of going from 19 million or whatever it was?
Yeah, because that is the low grade. Because their cutoff grade is very low. It's only 0.7. And majority
They've spent more years there. They've spent way more investment in the prospecting. Surely their data would be fairly solid scientifically, no?
Yes, very solid, but they did not cover the whole area. They focus on the north where their camp is located, because during those time there are no good access. They are using a chopper to transport people, so they have to focus on areas that they think they can easily define and operate, although they cover the whole area. So there are not much exploration data in the south area. And we found that there are possible potential areas in the south as well.
So that should then increase, but why have you reduced?
Because our cutoff grade is high.
Explain to me, what's this cutoff rate? Why?
Okay, the cutoff grade is the minimum grade that we think acceptable to the market, that will not make us lose money. So cutoff grade is basically just above break even. So if we will be selling the ore, it depends on the grade the market will buy. And secondly, it will be the grade that the company would earn positive profit, because we have to mine at a profit, so to sustain the operation. So for DSO, the market would require at least 1.2% nickel during the time we are doing the feasibility study. So at 1.2%, our cutoff grade is 1%, because we can blend the 1% nickel with 1.4, 1.5, so we can have at least 1.2, and that would become marketable.
You blend here.
You blend at the mine site.
And what's the price at the moment for cutoff rate?
The price for 1.2 is now very depressed. Actually, we sold it at $8. 11. But yeah, but recorded 11.
Oh, yeah,
The actual sale is $8. The problem is
$8
yes, per ton. Per wet ton. The problem is we are very.
I could buy a few tons. I mean, $8 I could afford.
Yeah, but because but we pay the government based on the 11 per ton, as the government said. But then we were able to sell 1.5, I think around $21 already, but at 1.5. The problem with our here is the distance. The freight costs it a lot of the value of the minerals. From the Philippines in 2022, the haulage from Philippines to China is around $15 per ton. But from here, it is double the price, so it would be $30 per ton. So we can only sell the 1.5, 1.6, 1.8 if the market is above those value. But fortunately, something happened in Indonesia. They are running out of ore because they built up a lot of HPAL and they control the production. So when the HPAL were existing, their problem is the source of nickel. That's why we can sell to Indonesia. So Indonesia is closer to us, so the freight would be almost half, so almost 15, something like that. It can be lower if we have a very big vessel. So that's one inherent peculiarity of salmon, the distance disadvantage to buyer. Although we are a miner, in the future we are also considering putting our own processing plant here so that we get more value. But it depends on the success of our future exploration program. So we have other exploration program. So if we combine all those successful the processing plant may become viable. Okay, if, Your Honor, if I continue.
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
Okay. The arrows on top represents the rehabilitation fund. So we call it in the Philippines Final Mine Rehabilitation and Development Program, FMRDP. But here, I would like to suggest Mine Closure and Final Rehab Fund. So it is contributed or deposited by the company. It will not be spent on the ground. It is a cash deposit. Okay, so it follows a certain schedule of payments, so that this is cumulative. So the idea here is that before the mine closes down, the whole amount should be available for mine rehabilitation. Okay, so once we go to the green phase, when the cessation of mining, it will now be the implementation of the mine closure and final rehabilitation. So all throughout the operation, up to the very last, we care for the environment. Okay, our proposal is the payment scheme should follow the accelerated cumulative model. I will show you. The first installment payment is after 1 year of commercial operation to ensure that the company is financially capable to pay. That means it has generated cash flow in year 1. The last payment should be made on the second year from the last year of operation to ensure that the full fund is available before the mine starts to scale down the operation. Because when they scale down the operation, we are not sure if they will earn the same amount of money. Now, this is the model, the Mine Closure and Final Rehabilitation Fund. So the contribution is the difference on the annual basis. On the first year, it will be a big contribution, and it's getting smaller, smaller, smaller until the full amount is accumulated in the bank. This is an actual schedule of payment. This is from nickel mines. I will mention only nickel mines, Christine. So if you may notice, the first payment was made on the 3rd year, and the last payment is made on the 10th year before the closure on the 11th year. Another mine, a smaller mine, the payment is on the 2nd year, and the last payment is second to the last year, 2016. And it has to be approved by the Ministry of Mines. So, and the last mine is this one. They paid on the 3rd year, starting to deposit on the 3rd year. And you can see the schedule, 0.2065, 0.225 is getting smaller through the years. And until the time that 2016, all the amount is accumulated and available to be used.
It's in pesos.
This one is let me see. US dollar. Yes.
Very good. Okay.
The previous one is in peso. That one is 22 million peso. So that would be around. This is a small mine. It's about 6 million SBD.
Hey.
That's about 500, because this is only a small mine. The first one is bigger, 106 million pesos.
Peso.
Yes.
So how much Solomon?
For Solomon, 10, 20, around 18 million.
Yeah.
18 million Solomon. It's around that figure.
Sounds low for a big mine.
Okay, there's a reason for that. The reason for that is this. The environmental protection and progressive restoration. So most of the restoration has been done during the operation of the mine, such that on the mine closure and rehab plan, the budget would require portion of that for the environmental rehabilitation, but some budget also can be used for social preparation for mine closure. That means we develop the community to rely less and less on the mining company to establish their own income, their own livelihood. That is part of the closure plan. Okay, so that is our comment. And then the last comment I would like to make is on section 116 on the royalties. It says verbatim, the minister may make recommendation. Okay, the minister. Can make a regulation to prescribe the royalty rate or the manner in which to calculate the royalty payable. On complying with paragraph A, he may prescribe how to ascertain the value of minerals or authorize the Minister for Finance or the Governor of the Central Bank of Solomon Islands to determine by notice published in the Gazette matter to be taken into account in determining values of minerals, or fixed percentage for calculating royalty payable for a mineral or class of minerals, or provide for calculation of royalty by the holder and the minister, and if there is a discrepancy between the two calculations, for revision of the calculations, and to prescribe the manner in which royalty payments paid and distributed. Okay. I have one point I would like to raise. Several points. One is the exact royalty amount is not included here. And I believe it should be included in a policy that would be approved by the whole parliament, because it would give a stabilized policy for the country and is good for the investor. In this case, my understanding, I may not be correct. My understanding is we are delegating the authority to set the royalty to the minister, or to the Minister of Finance, or to the Governor of Central Bank. So we are delegating this very important and delicate matter to those three individuals, or three positions rather. So in cases of prime importance such as royalty, it should be in a mother law like this one, mining bill.
How is it done in Philippines?
Okay. We have just passed a new fiscal mining regime. It is called House Bill number 2826. This is now the royalty rates. It is mentioned in the law itself. This is the provision. I just summarized the provision. First of all, there are areas of mineral reservation which has been partly explored by the government. So there is certain assurance there are minerals there. The government will get 5%, the lower bottom, 5% of the gross output plus windfall profit. But for any other areas outside the mineral reserve, I think you have a provision also, but it's not called reservation. In the proposed bill, you have the same concept. But in outside the mineral reservation, this is the new. Okay, in the past, our royalty rate is 2% only of the gross value. We call it excise tax. And then in the past 5 years, we changed this to 4%. So the excise tax was increased from 2% to 4% of the gross value of the mineral based on FOB values. Now, this is the new one. If the profit margin of the company is negative up to 0, still it has to pay 1/10 of 1% of the gross value of minerals. And I think that should be, that can be shouldered. It's only 1/10 of 1%. So the government still gets something, although it's very small. Now, if the company starts to earn profit, if the margin is 0 to 15%, more than 0 to 15%, he has to pay a royalty rate of 1 plus gross output, 1% of the gross output. If 15% to 30%, 2% of the gross output. If 30% to 45%, 3%. If 45 to 60%, 4%. If more than 60%, the royalty rate should be 5% of the total value of minerals. Now, the windfall profit is added. If it is negative up to 30%, there's no windfall because that is the expectation of a mining project. You can earn up to 30%. But
30% is the going average for for rate of return.
Yeah, rate of return. More or less the range of rate of return.
So 30 is max.
Yes, something like that. If it is more than 30, the company should pay more.
Right, windfall, yeah.
Yeah. So if the company would have a margin of 30 to 40%, it has to pay additional windfall tax of 1% of the whole actual net profit, the taxable amount.
Additional to
Royalty. So if for example, a company is earning, say 30%, he has to pay 3% of the gross output plus 1% of the net income. So he has to share in the windfall income. Now, if the profit is more than 40 up to 55, he has to pay 3% additional tax. And 55 to 65%, that is additional tax. That's not part of the income tax. The income tax is regular. It's a certain percentage. But this is more of addition to the royalty. So 65 to 75, 7, and more than 75%, he has to share 10% of the net income to the government.
So should the windfall tax go to income tax? Should it be prorated with it as opposed to with royalty? Because 1% windfall tax, if you're up to 40% margin, seems rather low.
The income tax is separate.
I know,
yes.
But I mean, would it be fairer both to the company and to the government if that was linked to the income tax as opposed to royalty? I suppose the royalty is base because it's gross output.
Yes. Yeah. In terms of the mode of how it would be paid, your proposal can be fine. Yeah, it can be integrated into the income tax. It can be because basically it is also a tax.
Right, but I mean, my question is on the tax, the windfall tax, 1%, if it's up to 40%. That is still calculated on the gross output?
No, that would be based on the margin. Since it is tax, so it has to be based on the taxable income.
So it's the same as income tax on company profits?
Yes, additional income tax.
Correct.
It will be additional, but the company has paid already 3% royalty.
On gross?
On gross value. So the royalty is the assured share of the government, but if the company is doing well, it has to share also in the windfall profit.
This is what Goldridge wants to do, Gold price is now 3.5.
Yeah.
And
it's another all-time high.
Yeah, the break-even is only
0.5 now.
Yep.
Yes.
Oh yeah? So they should be paying maybe another 10%.
90% profit margin.
Yeah, so this is very helpful. Very helpful.
We will give this copy of this to you. Yes.
Perhaps even give us a copy of the Philippines legislation.
Yes, I will.
Yeah.
I will give you.
Yeah.
Yes, I will include that in the submission.
Yes.
Okay, I have a copy here. And thank you very much. We are very, very grateful for giving us this opportunity to present our feedback on the new Mineral Resources Bill 2025. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for the informative presentation. We'll move on and we'll come back certainly with more questions and comments if the committee has. Please go, Rich. Tavia.
Yeah. Thank you, Chair, Honorable Committee, for Coleridge Mining Limited to be invited to today's presentation. we
Tavia, can you move the mic so that you talk direct into it? We love to hear your nice voice. And
Okay, Chair.
Thank you.
On behalf of Goldrich Mining Limited and its investors and contractors, we would like to thank you for inviting us to come this morning. We wanted to be part of our contribution to improve the very important bill before Parliament. We are here as based on our experience, our contribution based on experience, knowledge, and our both technical, physical policies, and some reference to member countries in the Pacific and how mining is operating, and they contribute to a world-class mine already. Our contribution is merely to improve the minerals resource bill, and we would like to share some issues that probably some misunderstanding of how we are going to operate and administrate this bill. Our understanding is the current Mine and Minerals Act bill has no problem. We think that it's one of the best mining legislation, and I think one of the problems that we experience in our mining operation is lack of implementations of the provisions of this act. So now we're looking at developing a new legislation, and we can see that this legislation wanted to cover a lot of authorities, or a lot of different legislation into it. To us, that will give a lot of problems, because you are bringing different legislation, different power by another minister, by another authority to try and develop a mineral development bill or act. That is so complicated, and it's very difficult to administrate. The experience we had with the mining industry, just recently we have a very corrupted administration that looks after the mining in terms of the government, and putting them all into one legislation, that will be a big problem for the industry itself. As you know, approvals of the Mines and Minerals Board, the board has approved something, the minister has made a different decision. This bill, I will go through that there is some certain things that you want to hand into the minister to have more powers over other legislation. We wanted to see that this bill deals with mineral sector development and how to administrate and develop and export mineral sector or mineral resources. We don't like to see this bill dealing with land issue, dealing with environment, dealing with all sorts of other legislation. That you need to have a different legislation put aside for a check and balance. You cannot put them into one legislation. So that is our general contribution. I think, Chair, we already sent you our inputs through the officials, and I think you got that. And I'd like to run through some of the things that we are proposing to improve. Our proposal in Section 3, the purpose of the bill, I think we suggested that these purpose it's a bit too broad, and we wanted to see that it has to be broadening law so that it's consistent on each purpose, rather than have a lot of things. So we suggest that to ensure that the continuity of legal certainty existing in the mineral tenement and operation, including grant and the provisions of the legislation, promotes a sustainable, transparent, and an investor-friendly regulated environment to affect the retain of responsible international domestic investments in the mining sector, and to foster sustainable development in Solomon Islands mineral resources. So that's what we propose to see. We wanted there should be a lot of transparent, a lot of legislation or a framework that needs to check and balance and so forth. So that the purpose we need to frame, so it's actually what really the purpose of this bill. Is the purpose of this bill wants to create more tax, more revenue, or is the purpose of this bill is to lightening the way in which the investor, the resource owner, the landowner, and the government needs to understand? Yeah, if you make it so broad, you cannot administrate. Look at the current bill. Do we administrate it fairly? No. You look at the Timber and Utilization Act. It's beautiful act. You have a mining timber, what they call the standard logging agreement. Has it been followed? Nothing. So that is where we think that this act needs to be streamed down, to be focused on what we really want this bill. The ownership of minerals, I think it's too broad. We need to look at ownership. What really, how are we going to own minerals? Now we're talking about landowners, we're talking about the province. And you know, some of us, we think that ownership of mineral needs to be specified or needs to identify differently. What is, some people talk about the 6 feet. I don't see in any legislation in the country that talks about 6 feet. This might be comes from the old English legislation. I was a former minister of mines, and I haven't seen any part that it's talking about 6 feet. And that is where people in Solomon Island think that they left out of the ownership. So see the ownership of the minerals. We think that before a tenement is issued, ownership needs to be the priority, important legislation or a structure that needs to be followed. So what we wanted to see is that all the applicants, all the tenement must be tendered. So if you are tendering a tenement area, put them into public tender, you mean that the government of Solomon Islands already identified the land ownership. Currently, that's the biggest problems we have. We're using the SAA to do mining. I must, in my experience, I think SAA is like timber rights. It doesn't identify ownership of land. So it's very important if we think about developing a mineral sector. It's the #1 source of income and the security of revenue for the country. Then we need to identify that all the tenements in Solomon Islands for mineral, it has been must put in international tender or a national tender, so that we can, it is the work of the government to identify the ownership of the land, so that ownership of mineral has to justify it at that time. We also think that some of the, like Gold Ridge, we have landowners of Gold Ridge that share the royalty. And I thank the previous governments to be able to do that deal. Currently, we are paying a 4.5 royalty to the landowners and province and the government of Solomon Island. I think there is a lot of misunderstanding between the royalty and tax. People think that we're developing this act to be able to give the country 80% and give the investor 20%. Some even talk about 60-40 and all that. I think Gold Ridge sharing is already been overpaid. We share is 51-49. If you understand how we share the benefits of Gold Ridge, we already on 49-51 on behalf of the investor. So the investor actually takes 51% and Solomon Island people 49%. So that is a proud sharing of Gold Ridge project. And why we do that, we have a nice agreement with the government of Solomon Island and Ministry of Finance and the landowners of Gold Ridge. So one thing we highlight in Section 7, we think that some lands that is manned outside the mining lease for mining facilities needs to be given royalty. So in our case, we have KTDA, which contribute about 600 hectares of land for tailings dam. They are left out in royalty in 1996. So we are discussing with Solomon Island government to be able, and I hope that this bill must recognize this type of people who contribute to the economy of the project or the country in terms of doing or supplying land outside the actual core area of where the resources come. We need to appreciate. So we wanted to add Section 7 on that one. In Section 8, we national interest for the project. I think that is, we suggest the minister may recommend the Minerals Board that the mining project is being a national interest. So that when it declares national interest, it means that Solomon Island government must take some responsibility. We always want to be responsible. We need to declare those projects as a national interest. In terms of other mining, gold-rich mining has been declared national interest. And that's where you see that there is a lot of legislation in gold-rich. It's almost an act of parliament itself. So that is what we think, that mining industry or any mining needs to be declared a national interest. So the government of Solomon Island must be also responsible. So what are the national interests means? Solomon Island government must be responsible for manpower. As we speak, we did not own Solomon Island. Employers, for that matter. Goldrich is employing about 1,000 workers. But we pick them on the street. We want the authority, if you think that this industry is so important, you need to own your citizen and understand it. Yeah? So that once we're talking about engineer, we're talking about operators, you supply these people. At the moment, we took to our operation a lot of foreigners because you did not own, Chairman, we did not own our people. The Ministry of Commerce needs to have an employment authority to look at Solomon Island so you can help the private sector to grow. Currently, we are employing people from the street. There is no discipline, and it's so difficult for them to stay on to standard. Even though we private sector signs an employment contract, these people have not been owned. So that is one thing. I think if you other countries that you can see, they own their citizen and their responsibility to make sure they operate the production onto standard. So that is what we think that is why we support projects must be a national project, a declared national interest. The mining forbidden areas, I think that's I say earlier, that is good. But as you see in this act, you wanted to get all that into one roof. So you have a Minister of Mines also looking at environment, making sure that the place is forbidden. And I think we wanted to see that. We wanted this legislation must be on different legislation, not in this Mines and Minerals Act. Yeah? It have to be on a different legislation so that you can allow space for check and balance rather than you put them into one. And when you look at the practice currently, you put all this power decision making into one basket or one umbrella, that will be misused. So that is our concern. In Section 18, we suggest that the mineral tenement as a whole of a mineral forbidden area, and those that are going to allow to mine in the forbidden area must have some very important application to be able to look at. In terms of Section 18 to 21, mining restricted area, we wanted to suggest that Section 21 this does not apply to areas subject to valid mineral tenement granted period to declaration. So what we are saying is that some of the tenement that is currently working right now, and when this bill comes to power, and if there's this area declared forbidden area, you have to give some certain times for the holder of the tenement areas to develop their mining plan. So that is what we suggested there. We suggest the minister must make decision within 7 days when the board gives the direction or the advice. Currently, a Minister of Mines has a different way of granting approval. We have evidence that even the Minerals Board did not approve or did not advise. The minister go ahead and approve some. So this legislation must make sure that the minister must be guided properly and cannot be given that power to be able to grant an approval outside the Minerals Board. Section 27, we wanted to add a suggestion, subsection 1, an entity holding valid tenement under an appeal act is deemed to eligible under this section. So that is a proposed amendment we wanted to suggest. And then section 29, we also have provisions there that I was suggesting in section 29, section 31, we also suggested that some suggesting, section 60, 66 to 70, we made those suggestions to you, and we did our presentation with the Chamber of Commerce. We did it with other authority. We spent few times with the Ministry of Mines, and we have a lot of suggestions put into this legislation. And today we have the opportunity to present it to you. We also, Chair, we also think that the environment protections, these are a very important thing. I think my friend here, a colleague on the other side, making some assessment, his view of the environment bond. Goldrich has an environment bond currently in place, but there is a lot of type of environment bond. And I think one of the things that, Chair, you need to be able to understand while working and improving this legislation is the standard. I think we do not have a development standard in the country. That is a very important piece of policy that needs to be looked at. You look at Goldrich, when it was started, we wanted to do Australian, New Zealand standard. We wanted to do the what they call the World Bank standard. We're taking a lot of different standards to try and develop Goldrich. As you can see, Goldrich has a very many different agreements. It's an agreement with government of Solomon Island, which is almost about 200 pages agreement. The agreement with landowners and the Goldrich and so forth. So these agreements are very important documents that make Goldrich successful. I'm not sure whether other minings has an agreement, whether we have an agreement with the Guadalcanal province, agreement with the landowners, an agreement with the, but when it comes to environment and development, we do not have the standard. So what we are using is that we are using the international bodies, like the Golder, and most of the Australian advisors companies that we are using currently to review a feasibility study, environment, EIA, and all that. These are very expensive, even though the sending to the labs in Australia, the LAS, that's very expensive. Even the government of Solomon Island does not have a lab. We try to spend sometimes reviewing it so that we cut some costs with the lab in I think the Ministry of Health at Kukum, but it's not working. The government even doesn't recognize their own lab. So that is one thing that we wanted to raise, some of the difficulties that we experience when we're looking at standard. Goldrich management and Goldrich shareholders, we want the government of Solomon Island must come has a standard. We do not have a standard. So the government actually talking about this thing and that thing to look at in development, but you don't have a standard. We need to have a development standards in the country. So that is what we recommend. We recommend a very important measure on development. In terms of Section 118 and 119, I think while everyone was talking about community development, this type, what they call the CDA, or in Goldrich we have a good agreement. But our view, and also the view of the gentlemen of the bike and the community in Goldrich, is that how this act and the government of Solomon Island can administrate the community in development. So if you look at Section 118 and 119, there is a lot of administration work. Currently, we experience landowners, for this legislation, they want to centralize all the payments, centralize community assistance, centralize compensation payment, centralize tambu sites, and all those things into the central basket, which is the which is the treasury. Okay, in our experience, that will never work, because even the Goldrich $18 million royalty was misused. And we have gentlemen, the landowners, they came to our office and asked, even the royalty, current royalty payment, Goldrich paid in time, even though we have three different type of exporting gold resources to the country, we're still paying within the 90 days. But their royalties are not even paid to their account. So if we are going to do the huge agreements that we have with communities in Goldrich, divert all the money into the central basket, how are you going to make sure that it's going to pay on time? Are you not going to misappropriate the payments that the company, and this is the things that we, as an operator, we will be facing with the communities. They will come to us if the government is slow. So if you're looking at improving this bill, can you have a different body rather than the government looking after this type of funding? Treasury to us it's not good. For the sake of the people of Solomon Island, I think Treasury, the way it's going, and let me tell you, we have a problem. We have a problem that if you want to fast track your approval, you have to pay. I like to say today here, as a businessman and operator, that is very bad.
We call it fish and chips.
Yeah, so you wanted to get your approval quickly, you better pay the price. And it's getting worse. So we worry about paying all that into the general basket. The landowners of Goldrich went up to the ministry, and the PV was just laying down there for 2-3 weeks. We raised that with the task force yesterday, and they assured them that they will discipline the officer. So these are things that we wanted to see. While we wanted to improve this legislation, we fear that it's not working, and you have to find a proper mechanism to be able to give to the people the right money and the right time. Yeah, people, country needs to be well looked after. In terms of Section 150 to 152, we suggest some improvements with the work in Central Bank. We have a good relation with Central Bank and customs, export, and we wanted to maintain that. But I think we wanted to see that Some of these things must be properly done. More transparent work have to be put in place. Goldrich might be wanted to say that we're trying to do everything according to law and standard. When we look at left side of our same industry, we find that some are not doing the right thing. So these are what we wanted to see, that this legislation must be fair to all. We wanted to do everything. We have an agreement, we have all that, but we find that some companies have a quick access to approval than us. So these are things that we wanted to raise. And if Chair, if you and the parliamentary committee, if you find the way, you might know how that works, you can let Goldrich know so we can also apply the same style. We also look at section 160 to 161 in dealing with the approvals. We wanted to register our support. We wanted to suggest some additional amendment onto that. And section 168 to 169. Section 70 is the payment of the funds. I think I already alluded to that earlier. And the Minerals Board, I think that is section 174. We suggest that the composition of the Minerals Board currently, it's all officials. And their lack, now the industry is increasing. Goldrich will be in the world class in the next few months, few years. So the standards at the Minerals Board must be high. Currently, I think our standards is only the level of directors and paymentry. Most of them, I think they don't know anything about mineral development. I must say. Technical people must be there. Whether you source it outside from some of the international body to become a member, if we wanted to make fair decision. The private sector, the operators of the industry are suffering on bad decision by the Minerals Board. I must register here. We suffered the consequence of bad decision. And we see that the composition of the Minerals Board must be in high standard. At the moment, they are all low standard, and it's so difficult. And the approval is not transparent. Some approval, we just receive it verbally. When you receive the approval black and white, it's totally different from the verbal assurance. So these are things that if we want to improve, make sure that the Minerals Board must be guided by a proper legislation, and give some discipline. At the moment, they can, they can be told by a minister, and they cannot stand. So they have to be stand to defend this type of legislation. So these are other things that we like to say it here. And we also like to see that the power of this act must be also make provision for people who who corrupted this legislation or they're misusing this power must be made the consequence. This is a big industry, and we wanted to make sure that there should be some good punishment for these for the people breaking the law. And there is other issues in sections that we highlighted there. So we, Chairman, we wanted to see that our inputs are incorporated into the legislation. But finally, we like to see this bill goes before Parliament as soon as everyone's satisfied, so that we have a lot of other issues. Our landowners are jumping up and down about alluvial. We also like to see that when there is a mining lease granted, all law must be also guided. Currently, we have a mining lease, but we also have illegal miners. So if this legislation can stop illegal activities, how are we going to make sure? Mining lease is granted by the states. When the states granted mining lease, anything that is not legal in the mining lease is illegal. It's illegal. You break all the other law. Nowadays, Goldrich complain about trying to get the police to arrest these people, arrest this. They're still selling illegal things. So these are what that we've been suffering, and we want this legislation to safeguard the operators, so that the investor will got some confidence. Oh, this is a mining lease granted by Solomon Island government. That's the state, and I'm free to invest. Now it's not an issue. Everyone looking at money. You don't look after the investor. So, lastly, Chairman and Honourable Committee, I'd like to say here that please do not carry it by dreams. I know there is a lot of things talking about in the media about sharing of wealth. Some people talking about, as I said earlier, 60-40. Give the landowner. I saw some provinces were here, but they're talking about huge sharing. So if you share everything, the landowners and the government shares, where's the money for the investor? Investor needs money. Look at us. Our investor brought in almost $300 million US to invest into the mine. This investor wants a return of their money so that they can invest more or attract another investor to come. So if Goldrich Mining Limited is doing well in Hong Kong and other stock market, we need to assist this company. This is a gateway of other big mining to come in the country. Some people misunderstood royalty and tax. In other countries, they don't call tax, they call it royalty. All is all same. So in Goldrich, we pay 4.5 royalty, probably highest. You go to PNG, they're paying less than 4.5. They're also paying 3%. They host about 3 world-class mines. I can hear on the corridor and in the street, on the street, people jumping up and down about royalty. 10, 20, 50% royalty. I tell you, that doesn't work like that. You have a lot of tax issue here. We have company tax, we have profit tax, we have dividend tax, we have pay-as-you-earn, a huge amount of money. And that's where Goldrich is paying billions of dollars into the government. 1.45 billion, that's a lot of money. So if you are asking more royalty and increasing, I know the landowners won't like to hear, but I must warn you, if you are increase up to more than 5% or 10% royalty, all the mining will go back to their country. Yeah. I must assure you this. I've been going through a royalty issue over the years with the investor and asked the minister before. What we do is we compare to other countries closest to us. I like you, before you finalizing this bill, you try and compare legislation in PNG. Okay, you can see the royalty percentage they pay. Even though they have a shareholding arrangement, that is another legislation. Yeah?
So the ministry is proposing, that's why in the regulations they've left that power to the minister. They're proposing a 9% royalty, 9%, 7%, 5%. So the lowest will be 5% for you guys because you're processing. Processed exports, royalty 5%. And then the highest is for unprocessed. So I forget the middle one, 7F or whatever. Half-cooked one or...
So that is a figure, but we wanted to see, we also have some figures of royalties. We wanted to see where you got these figures.
So if they do implement those figures, in your case, law processing, law, I think this fella concentrate here, not middle one here, would be 7%. Would that make it so you got 5% for processed gold and then concentrate at 7%? How would that affect?
Yeah, so that is why I suggest today that Ministry of Mines, so they have to have some technical people. In our view, the one that we sent to China, what they call the gold concentrate, is a rejected thing in Gold Ridge. That is where Allied Gold, St. Barbara, and all the others are left, because the recovery is low. We're sending the gold concentrate because this is, it was sent down to Tellings Dam and West Rock. Because we are doing the heap leaching, that is why we recover this. And we're doing the flotation. That's why we recover this. And if the tax is higher on that, we don't like to export gold concentrate to China. It's too expensive. The labor, the transport, it's too expensive. We wanted to process here. And another application we're gonna drop is to help us to develop another processing plant.
So I think to be helpful to us, because we want to make some meaningful recommendations to the House, it would be good for you in writing to justify this in light of government's intention to put 7% on semi-processed exports, and the implication on that for the operation of the mine itself, firstly, and then secondly, that particular product itself. It then, as in what you're just saying, it renders it uneconomical, then nobody wins. So make a case and do a recommendation to us. What about to you guys? I mean, 9% is going to be the new rate, royalty rate. 9% or same cheap? The highest.
It's too very high. Yeah, I must say, for us, Hard Rock, 9% is very high. And if you look at, why are you asking 9% when we already contribute 49.51?
Right.
Are you asking, if you're asking that, you're taking more. And what will be the investor going to do?
Yeah, so that's in your case.
We already are 49.51, and you ask 9. The highest we go is 3%, and now we're going 4.5.
So the extra 1.5 voluntary contribution,
that will be a lot of, that we need to, that's where I say, where do they get this figure by an assessment somewhere? Or they just pick up a figure and put it on the board and say, this is the figure. We wanted to know where they got this figure, because we also have our fiscal policy that's calculate all these costs. If you have the basis where they come and arrive into this figure, can you provide for us? We will do our presentation to you again on what you ask. If you can supply, how do they arrive on this figure? To help us to check our fiscal policy.
So this 4.5 royalty Bleu is already factored into the 49-51 split?
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah. That's right.
For you guys, DSO operators, how is that 9% going to impact the viability of your operations?
I agree with the esteemed gentleman on my right. It's too high. We also have an agreement with the landowner. Our sharing also is 51.49. So out of the net income.
Sorry, 51.49 with who? With
the landowner. So it's like a partnership with them. So we partner with them.
In the share of the company?
Yep.
Please forward us your company profile also, so yes, we can see the shareholding percentages and how you propose to share the benefits.
Yes.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, Chair, I think our 49.51 is that's not based. The best part of it is based on the equity, which is 10%, but most of it is in our tax.
Yeah, no, we understand yours. So their 49.51 is in everything that Gold Ridge is earning.
Gross.
51 goes to the investor, 49 goes to the government through royalties, taxes. duty,
Royalty
and so
tax,
forth.
yes, yes.
So that's what he's talking about. So not so much the shareholding.
Not shareholding, on the benefits, more on the benefits.
Yeah, so if you can provide that to us, that'd be very helpful.
Yeah, yeah.
And Yuval too. Yeah, make him help him look in picture clear a little bit and look in impact law over the royalty rates. Yeah.
And just recently, no ma, this fella 15% export duty ya hem baraba. Too much for me fella too. Me fella, I think
Impact law something, you know.
used to be
1.5.
1.5, and then have just go up for
15.
this time 15 now.
On nickel.
Oh, yes, on DSO.
DSO, bauxite.
DSO, bauxite, nickel.
Best one to pay.
Yeah.
But you will pay.
Me fala pay me.
I was all right, no man.
Hey, you travel lots there. Dan fala de kosten se me look him now, some excise tax 15%, shipping charge to 5%, hem 20%, ne, royalty 3%, same 23% na off finish. Then for our case, me fala give him landowners blow me fala to negotiated subset 3 USD per ton or say me 8.8% na that one, or say me where to go na. Then so you fala increase more by problem now how me fala sa give mo kata fala.
So give him come breakdown below you
Yeah.
existing arrangements or new excise rates here. Then we can see how this affects the viability. Okay, well that's very helpful.
Thank you very much. Let me thank Coleridge. I'm just wondering whether, since we have the landowner representative here, you with Coleridge, good, because he made some presentation on your interest in his submission to the committee.
True one, yeah?
Yeah.
To Palaya, partner local company to hold him 10%. So what me present them here, blow me fala. Lanona blow you me by come tomorrow, I think.
Oh.
Sunday also.
Okay.
I am from market.
All right. Okay. Thank
Pala
you.
right hand blow me.
Oh. Yes.
That's the way.
Okay, wait a minute. One. Thank you too much once again, Coleridge, by time for a little bit question. But thank you for your frankness in your presentation. We need good bill, and you totokam bara clear. Thank you for you really sharing about the experience play for. Mi sabe this kind. Service pilo hem come up this time, yeah. You have to pay for fast tracking more things, yeah. But you follow worse, yeah. I mean, because you have money, they perceive you as you rich too much by selling cocoa up commission, yeah. Yeah. Leader he prefer for call him fish and chips. You must give him fish and chips before officer. He facilitate more, and it's sad. And we must work together to ensure that our new legislation, provides for the accountability, transparency, and also creates an environment for us to work together. So I will allow my board members now to ask questions or make comments on your presentations. They will direct the question to yourselves. Thank you. Yes. Colleague John Tinkuku.
Thank you, Chair. One question may like to ask him, not necessarily an answer, but maybe an opinion. If you look law definition, section of bill, yeah, one for a new name come out now is the occupier of lands. For him, owners of land. We are creating another group Maya occupiers of land. How do you all feel about the difference? Oh, Falaya. But if we create more this one, then we create many more problems. I mean, the definitions are there, but as all definitions in law, Yeah, by me to twist him, no, my. So, in the case of Gold Ridge, on that definition, the occupier of lands qualify anyone lumipalaka come all about ya.
Yeah.
Or what's your opinion on that? Him no mami like him. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, so in my presentation earlier to them, we say to avoid and occupy, all the tenement must be tender. And the government must identify the owner of the land. So you have the customary owner of the land, Baba Hemi register. So I'm registered before mine tenement. So you're actually dealing with the legal. The occupy, to me, I think people where Ota come stop. And maybe Ota stop polom inside the same area. Ota might be karem sample Ota buy land. Ota buy land, Ota stop lo there too. Yeah. And time Ota buy land, Ota buy lo what fella law. Maybe land title act, or maybe customary settlement, or the money register them, so Ota become occupier of the land. They are not landowner. I think might be that so time you dream development, lo currently the development concern and EIA him and receive now when him Ota call him impact of development. So the impact of development, like I say earlier today, me fella like him KTD have me well look after through the realty. So occupy of a land, lo view blow me too, but me no sabe what number him, how number him come lo here. Is it occupy through the land title act or customary recognition? Kata na man what I call him occupier. Me for land owner, customary land owner. We own the land, and this is where the realty needs to be. So what the man occupier now, I think. So time I got to put them come here, like for instance, me go lo vagina for that matter. Customary land owner lo vagina. Sorry for using vagina, but that because I got Gilbert is here, got to come settle here. So probably they are the occupier. Vagina and carry what man lo chesol or the land owner lo here. I mean, I'm trying to find where now what like you put him come lo acted for you may recognize him that kind of type here. What's that?
Thank you. Yes, colleague.
Thank you, Chief, for your explanation and awesome opinion, Blue. My fear no more is not going to be creating any kind different levels and definitions, yeah? And then causing problem more. I'm no more fear, Blue. Unless whether by necessary to him put him or just leave him out no more. The owners of the land also no more. Occupiers, yeah. The owners are occupying spaces of the land or something else. But also, what not thinking from Ifwala or no more. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, colleague John Tinkuku. Yes, colleague Frida.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I just want to go back to the brief presentation. You mentioned that when you start the operation of mining, you have to make a deposit of a bond or a double up. Who is going to, bonds should be deposited to the government or to the landowners, so that when your operation is not complete and you are not going to pay the full royalty, you still have some outstanding there. So the deposit or the bond guarantee should be available for the landowners or both the government and the landowners if you are not paying up all or you are not properly clearing up the operation side if referred to like environment damage.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor, for that question. First of all, I would like to clarify. That is one of our questions, whether what is acceptable to you is a cash deposit or a bond. In the Philippines, we don't have a bond for environment because we have cash deposit. But the cash deposit is scheduled. So it is not just a single one lump sum payment. It is a schedule of small payments until the whole budget for the rehabilitation is accumulated. So we don't have a bond. Now, regarding the landowners, we have a different system for that. We have the Ministry of Mines in the Philippines is the one that looks into the damages, potential damages that the mines might have caused the local people. So in that case, it is the Ministry of Mines or the Department of Mines that determines the amount, and this amount is paid back to the local community. So how do we raise that amount? That amount was raised from the mine waste and tailings fee. The mechanism is simple. If the mine produces waste, and this waste will not be used for productive purposes like construction of buildings or infrastructure or a road, the mine will have to pay a certain amount per ton. So whatever you produce, you have to pay unless you prove that it will be productive. It would be useful. For tailings also, especially for like gold mines, copper mines, they produce tailings. There's also a fee, mine waste and tailings fee. And then this fee would accumulate through time. It is deposited in a government accredited institution. And once it is paid by the mining company cannot get it back. It's non-refundable. It is a fund that only the government can use to pay for damages. So through the years, it will get accumulated. So if somebody file a claim for damages, it can be processed by the government. So it's no longer the mining company that has to deal with that. So it was already prepaid through whatever they do in their production.
Thank you very much. Yes, Goldrich would like to add.
Explain. In Goldrich, we have a bond for environment. It was placed some years ago. It's a 1.5 million Aussie dollar.
Yeah.
And this one is purposely for, and it's open in a bank they call Macquarie Bank in Australia. And I think the government and the company signed this bond. But then there is an issue on the tailings dam in 2014. The landowner asked for this type of payment. But these bonds are different. It's not for landowner. It is for the disaster, environment disaster. So if there is a disaster that causes environment, that is type of a bond that is. In other countries like Australia, or I'm not sure about Philippines, they have a different type of bonds in mining. So they have environment bonds, they have a bond in prospecting. So what it means is that if you don't meet your target, that is your approved target, this bond is something like it's an assurance that if you don't meet this target, you break these rules, and then this is where the government compensates this thing. So something that can be looked at, but it's not a, make sure that it's not to be something that you tell him, landowner say, oh, bone, yeah? No, time him something, or the come take him some royalty. That will be very dangerous for the investor.
No, Chair, I'm asking this because of, you raise it on paragraph what? On page 25, yeah? Loss and damage. So I think it's good, a mining company, we should reserve money. Because, they are the people that will meet all the consequences or will meet facing the challenges of environment in their own areas. I think it's good that what you mentioned in your brief, the bond or the deposit, you say you can double up. Yeah?
Yep.
It should be also cover up what the other company has mentioned in Renbell. That's, I'm thinking it's good, the received money also should be including the loss and damages. I think that's all. Thank you, Chair.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yes, Honorable John Tinkuku.
Yeah. I want to flag this question so that maybe when you submit your written submissions, you can consider. This bill looks at mining in this country as one, just mining. Him no got any differentiation here. Whether him small mine, big mine, whatever, him one number. That's one point. Two, when it comes to so when it comes to royalties, they apply it right across. So some all same, some all same. But the nature of mining in this country is different from one place to another. And when it comes to rehabilitation, some people are easy for rehabilitating me, when others find very difficult. So, but when it comes to rehabilitation, he treated equally, no, as if the big one is rehabilitated. So, me just like for flagging Pamosim, any way of how he is improve that kind, or same, just for flagging also, no. How now by me improve? Because some of our operations now, maybe by way of what our colleague here said for environment and whatever, you say start put him go down now. But in other areas, you cannot put him down. A place where the techna, yeah? So there will be another form, another different type, and the cost will vary. So how do we capture all this in the bill? We are looking especially at Gold Ridge, no matter target. Me worry too, suppose New Georgia in mind. How will I want it to be protected? And also me, your experience will be very helpful here, not for the present, but the future now. So these are the area where we like flagging for maybe submission, improve part look closer here. So that you may say, by him close for good, or by him come repeat him by more. Or same. So area for him is look like. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, colleague. Yes, Courage.
Okay, so let's understand mining. We have here in Mikarim, former PS law, director of mines law here too. I think the act itself and the current act may specify different type of mineral processing, how mining, hard rock, alluvial, bauxite and all that, and others alluvial, all that. To me, yes, once you generalize him, I'm unfair too, and different type of investment. So today we talk about standard. That's one thing that you need to take. The other one is the feasibility study. Each of us have a different feasibility study outcomes. In Gold Ridge, we have a hard rock. So our feasibility study and our physical policy is different from these colleagues here. Yeah? So then one document that we need to align properly to identify now what are the different tax and all is through the law environment. After feasibility study, we have a EIA. So this EIA now identifying the cost of what the type of environment. If the EIA have established him environment bond, and establish him type of worker, what now what things law environment or same, and him approve, that is the baseline now. And him no more, me think that, so allow me follow for make him short, we have a EIA, we have an AMP. It's time also, yeah. So these are documents that I may make sure I classify. But yes, mining him the different now. But me unfair for me as a hard rock operator. For me, carry same type of royalty than the bauxite and nickel. If I pay 1.5 and I got to pay 1.52, that is not right. I think the ministry has failed. 1.5 law, kata kopem namo 1.5 law gold reach before. Then they took it to, but all the things should come out through the feasibility study. The physical part there come out now, the feasibility study, but I'm looking now the cost there. And this is why the royalty calculate. Also, you know, put them royalty, no more so 1.5, everyone same. I totally agree. Me fella should be given a different package now. Me hard rock, which is so expensive than the other mining, bauxite and nickel is cheaper, almost like logging. All same, yeah. So and the price too is different. Export price blokata him different from me fella gold. All same, yeah. So we are higher than them but the cost blokata am low. So when you raise the issue of different type mining, of course yes. In terms of taxation, in terms of royalty, MIFAL has to be classified separate now. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yes, please.
Pertaining to the environmental aspect, before the mining lease or mining license can be granted, one of the requirements is the rehabilitation plan. But he did not mention the environmental protection and progressive restoration, the one that we propose. So we suggest, I personally suggest, we incorporate this. So aside from the rehabilitation plan, which according to the World Bank should be first developed before the start of the mine, it would be submitted in a conceptual format. And then after 5 years, it would be reviewed, and once the mine started to operate, it could engage the local impact host communities to agree on what would be the future land use of the area after the mine. So the final mine rehabilitation plan would start from conceptual, and then gradually it will become a realistic technical engineered plan through the years. Every 5 years will be reviewed. But the funding commitment would start from the beginning. So the company would start. Now what we suggest is we add additional requirement, which is the environmental protection and the progressive rehabilitation. That would cover the time that the mine is doing the activities in the area. And then this would be a program for the life of the mine, but every year it will be submitted in an annual form. So there will be an annual budget, annual work program that will be submitted every year. After 5 years, it would be resubmitted. The program would be resubmitted based on accomplishments and changes in the environment, and also in the commercial or the financial aspect. So that's one we would like to suggest.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Let me say that we are going to conclude. Good things need to come to an end as well. The presentation has been very, very interesting, helpful, and that sort of comes from yourself as the operators. We have experience in you from the government, former government employees. Coleridge has been very powerful in the presentation because of the Chief Moore and former Minister Moore, and and
Experience.
Yes, as a chief, I really commend Tavia for his frankness. This is exactly what this country needs to address. We need accountability, we need transparency, and when this piece of legislation comes, this is an opportunity to redirect this country. We have a future, we have children to take care of, and I really commend you for your presentation and insight. And this is a golden opportunity. This bill needs to be well addressed, looked into by this whole process before it comes, it's tabled before the Parliament. We don't just want a half-cooked piece of legislation. We need to take responsibility. I, as the chairman, I think I will call for bigger responsibility in this bill. It covers whole of Solomon Islands Ministry and the others that came before you. They've seen the bill as the bill that paves the way for the sunrise. We have the sunset with the forestry sector. It contributed. It has its own, issues as well. And for us as a country, we know where we went wrong with the forestry sector. We have fisheries, and now this bill we've been waiting for so many years. I have waited my entire time in Parliament for this, and which is more than 15 years. And so this is them. So, as already put to you, please review your presentation and your submission to us, because you have the experience, and have it delivered to us quickly, because we are having yourselves, and we put the ministry at the end of our inquiry to go clause by clause, so that we can have the opportunity to raise the issues you resisted with us when we go clause by clause with the host ministry. So that is the golden opportunity we have, and I realize that your expertise and experience will help the committee on that. With that, let me once again thank you all for appearing before us. Thank you for your time, and to have a very good afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.